The 1997 film Chasing Amy is personally one of my favorites from the View-esque universe. This is a story about love, about heart, and the difficulties of being in a new relationship. Thing is that while this movie may not be perfect, it sure does provide a lot of entertaining moments all throughout it. Man, I remember the first time I saw this is that I really did like this story because it is the most serious compared to Clerks and Mallrats. So this one is about two comic book artists, Holden and Banky. While promoting their new comic book, Blunt Man and Chronic, Holden finds out about another artist named Alyssa. He falls in love with her, but when he finds out that she is a lesbian, then his hope of being with her gets crushed. Not just that though, but his friend Banky also tells him that he is wasting time with this woman. Man, more than 2 decades later, this one is still quite memorable. What actually makes it stand out compared to some of the other films in the cinematic universe is because it is an engaging urban love story where it doesn't go over the top with the comedy. Not just that, but you really care about the characters in this. There's some heartwarming moments, and I generally did care about Alyssa and Holden's love story. Overall, while this might not be one of the best movies of the late 1990s, it does have a lot of good things going for it. That makes it still quite entertaining, even after all of these years later. Now the characters, they really do make the story here. Ben Affleck does such a good job as Holden. I had liked this character up to a certain point until he started acting like an idiot. What I mean by that, when he finds out that Alyssa had passed, she slept with a few guys, and he becomes judgmental. I actually did like that both him and Alyssa start off as friends first. He knows that she's gay, but then when he professes his love to her later on, then they do become a couple. It's too bad he couldn't get over her past. I think one of the main themes of this movie is don't become judgmental. A person's past shouldn't matter. And especially if they done things that they weren't proud of, but that's not them anymore. Not just that though, but I also did like the chemistry between Joey Lauren Adams and Ben Affleck. It was great. I really bought them as a couple. I really did like how Alyssa stood up for herself, especially near the end, considering that Holden was being selfish, asking her, Banky, to have a threesome with him. Like, dude, are you serious? Not only was that incredibly selfish, but good thing Alyssa said no. She is a very likable character. You know who's not a likable character? Banky. Now, Jason Lee, he did do a good job, but I just didn't like this guy. I despised how he was homophobic, how he was calling Alyssa names. You know, it was just wrong. It was wrong on so many levels. Like, that was Holden's girlfriend at one point. But you know, despite how awful he was at certain parts, he was also funny. Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, they come back once again. Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah. I'm kind of glad they only had a cameo here because if they was in the film majority of it, then they kind of would have ruined the story, despite how much I like these two characters. Now the title of the film, Chasing Amy, it was brilliantly done because Silent Bob explains that he loved a woman named Amy, but it didn't end up well for them because he loved her after he learned about her past. And the thing is that this is a type of film you can sit down and really appreciate it. Not just the music or the story or even the themes, but just how different Holden and Alyssa are by the end of this. At the end of the day, this is still greatly appreciated more than 2 decades later. It may not be the best film overall in this cinematic universe, but it still stands out pretty well for what it is. I'm giving this film an 8 out of 10. The themes of sexuality and love are explored very nicely here. It's a honest portrayal of how complicated relationships can get because Holden doesn't end up with Alyssa at the end of it, and it feels more realistic. It's not the same tired formula you see in other romance films where the two main characters end up back together. Anyway though, this is a great romantic comedy. It may have some issues, but at least it's far from a bore fest in my opinion. And that's my review of Chasing Amy. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. Alright, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.